Today is May 23rd. My name is Noah Young. I am on the professional services team, and I will be your host today for the Lunch and Learn. Cool. All right, we got somebody. Hey there, Aaron. I recognize that name. How's it going? I can see your mic going, but I cannot hear you. Oh, here's something.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is the sound of
All
my
right.
voice.
Now I've got you.
All right, good. Hey, good afternoon. Am I the only other attendee?
Yeah, you're the only one here so far. So whatever you got for me.
Oh, great. It's my party. All right, well, I got a couple of things.
All right.
We're gonna have to crack open code. Can you do that?
Okay. So like you want to look at some SDK stuff?
Well, what's going to happen is we have a difference in how Decisions operates in 6 and 4, and it has to do with XML serialization. And I've tried every workaround that I can, and I cannot make it work.
Okay.
And so in order to understand it, I need to understand what methods were used for XML serialization in the code, so I can at least get a sense of like, why is this different? Is it using a different .NET method? Is it using a different assumption? Is it doing some implicit character re-encoding that I don't know about? Are you able to open up the code and look at it?
Unfortunately, I'm not, no.
Okay, so let's stick a pin in that one then. Let me think, what else have we got? Okay, I don't have anyone from ops here, so I can't look at that. Let me see if Mike can get on. Mike may have something he can ask about. All right, so let's see. I just want to open up my list here and make sure that I'm touching on everything we need to touch on. Okay, Mike says important fill imported this morning. Noah, while I'm looking at this, how long have you been with Decisions?
I just hit 3 years back on May 13th.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
In your past 3 years, I remember you worked with us on a couple of projects. Have you worked on anything new and interesting for 2022?
I have been on a project for Nationwide since
Nationwide. Now, is it true what they say
October, I think?
Are they really on my side?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's around. Okay. Well, let's talk through this. Maybe
Mhm.
if nothing else, whoever is going to take my support ticket, because I did email Will about 20 minutes ago telling him we need to escalate this. Maybe they'll come and talk to you. So can I share my screen?
Yeah. Let me see. I think I need to do something for that. Maybe I need to make you a panelist to be able to share your screen. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Oh, feels so good to be special.
All right, I just got a message saying that Will is out of office today and tomorrow.
Have I been on mute this whole time?
If you've been talking while you've been sharing your screen, then yes.
All right. So Falk is our customer in Denmark.
Okay.
Yes, please, if you can. Falk is our customer in Denmark, and Falk has a letter writing process that basically involves taking a lot of XMLs and doing special stuff with them. So
Mhm.
the process depends on us sending correctly formed XML to Falk or to a company called Boomi. The Boomi appliance is Dinesh. So this XML in the sorry, open this up here. When it comes out of Decisions 4.0 or whatever it is, I believe it is UTF-16 encoded. Okay. But there's no option to select the encoding like there is here. Of course, UTF-16 isn't an option. Decisions recommended we use Unicode because Unicode is UTF-16 effectively, not exactly, but effectively. All right. Now, when we send this over to Boomi, Boomi throws one of two errors. Okay. Now, the first error that it throws us is it looks at this and it says, "Hey, I don't like this question mark at the beginning." Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that the question mark is actually a substitute for a byte order mark, which is supposed to indicate to the receiving system, hey, this is the type of, it's going to be 1 byte UTF-16 or it's going to be 2 byte UTF-16. At least that's what I think. Boomi balks at that. It says, hey, there's this weird question mark. You got to get rid of that. All right. So when I trim this off, okay, and I just send this, well, Boomi comes back and Boomi says, well, wait a second. I can't interpret this because you've declared UTF-16 encoding, and UTF-16 encoding uses 2 bytes. But the physical encoding of the message that you sent me just uses 1. So I can't decode it. Now, I have tried to output the serialized XML as UTF-32 and send this UTF-32 message to Boomi. And of course, when you serialize that, you get an XML that looks like this. It's got the question mark, right? Well, Boomi chokes on the question mark. So I remove the question mark again. In that case, what happens when I send that 32-bit is Boomi sends me a message like this that says, you've declared the coding as 32, but UTF-32 uses 4 bits, but your physical encoding appears to use 2. Well, that's odd. I can understand if UTF, 16 is optionally 1 byte or 2 byte encoding, and we're sending one, okay. But 32, I would think that UTF-32 should always use 4 bytes. Well, okay, here's my thought. UTF-16 and UTF-32, maybe they're both optional. Maybe the number of bytes that they use is variable depending on what the character is, whatever, right? Maybe Windows, the .NET method, is optimizing the the length of the bytes that it's using, because it says, okay, I look at this string and I can encode everything with 1 byte. I don't need to encode it with 2 bytes. I can make this string smaller in physical space by just using 1 byte. Okay, great. Well, Boomi's stupid. Boomi doesn't understand that you can do that, and Boomi's choking on it. So I just want to look at the code and say, okay, is it doing that? Can I see that it's trying to optimize the string by using a smaller encoding? Or is something else completely going on here? And the problem is I don't have any visibility into Boomi. I just know the error that Boomi is returning.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really wanted to look at the code and see what the heck is going on with this serialized step. Why? How is it actually encoding, with the input that we're giving it? So what do you think? Do you think we can get someone to open up the code for us, or do you think we should go on to another problem?
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to look at that on this call.
Okay. Well, definitely stick a pin in that, because I emailed Will and I'm trying to get some stuff out of that. Okay, well, another problem that we've got is, I'll just show you the support ticket I opened up. Let's see, there we go. So we got this situation. Again, same customer, different server. So once upon a time, Falk, our customer, they got started using workflow when it was way back in the dark ages, when it was workflow like 3.0 or something like that. It was really old. And their main system only ever got updated as far as 4. We're trying to get them up to 6, right? But they're having troubles with 6, as you can see. They can't get 6 to, deserialize stuff. So they still got a 4.0 instance. In fact, this is 4.0.22. Well, this big project is so massive that we're really having difficulty checking out of the repository. So what did we do? Well, we did what any red-blooded American would do. We imported it using the Decisions.local module. Are you familiar with the Decisions.local module?
I can't say that I am.
Okay, so Decisions.local is sort of like, it's an empty shell, but you can put anything into it. So I can put a custom DLL into it. I can put a whole bunch of flows, and Decisions will treat it like a module and import it every time it restarts. So we did this, and it imported the project, and everything was great, right? But the problem is we leave those flows in there, these flat files that represent all the different entities in the project, and every time it restarts, it imports those project files again, and it overwrites any changes that those guys made in the system. So, well, of course, let's just go delete those files. Well, what happened when we deleted those files is SHM would fail to start, and it would restart, and it would restart, and it would restart. And we kept getting this message: the specified path is too long. And moreover, we could see that Decisions was somehow importing those objects from nowhere. So again, we deleted them from the file system, right? And they still kept appearing as imported objects. So I think database representations of these imported entities were still being treated as imports and still being imported on restart somehow. Like there's something really weird happening, and we can't fix it unless we can understand why is Decisions doing this. So another stone cold whodunit. Am I still the only caller?
We've had a couple more attendees come in.
Oh, okay. I'm probably sharing people a lot of stuff that I shouldn't, but I'm sorry for hijacking the call. So what do you think? Is this a stone cold whodunit? Do I need to get additional team on there?
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure where to start with this, but I do know that we have Anthony Ben on the call.
Okay.
Anthony Ben, do you have any ideas?
Let's see, on the file path issue here. Scroll up. Apologies, I'm not part of the support team anymore, but
Okay.
Well, why don't we schedule a follow-up call and try and get that, and I can let some of the people with more of the lunch and learn style questions ask their questions. But I do appreciate your patience. Thank you for letting me take it over.
yeah, this
Yeah, no
definitely be a
problem.
support ticket here.
Alrighty. Let me see. Change role to attendee. All right, Aaron, I'll put you back as attendee. And so we've got David and Mirel. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Here, do either of you guys have any questions?
I don't have any specific questions for today. I was just
Okay.
trying to learn today. So
Yeah. And then how about you, David?
No, I usually just get on to listen in and try to learn as much as I can as fast.
Okay.
And so I don't know that I have any specific today. Let me pull up some things I've been working on and see if I have any questions about that.
Sounds good.
Okay, I got one for you. So I understand that there's a way that you can, when you run the decisions installer, that you can do it based on a file instead of having to run through the steps, right?
Mhm.
If I were to, so we deploy at a bunch of different clients, right? Let's say we have a new setup, and hypothetically I ask them for all the information that I need in a workbook. What I want to do is be able to just read that workbook and output an XML installation file. I want to generate it basically, or take a template and just modify the values, right? So that part's not terribly hard. But if I were to do that, let's say something like their SMTP mail settings, if they give me an account and a password for that, and I just throw the string value of that password into my installation file, will the installer or will Decisions read and recognize that and then just hash it? Or do I have to have it basically hashed ahead of time, in which case it probably did it with a different key than what's on that instance or that installation, and it wouldn't match up and wouldn't work, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but what I can see, what I can do is open up the settings XML on my local instance and set that password and see what happens.
Yeah, so I think I sent in I guess I'm curious if it behaves the same way, right? Because I had sent in a ticket specific to the settings XML file. But if you do an installation, basically I want to say, okay, I want to take my installation that I have here, and I want to generate an install file based on that, and then I want to manipulate that for any other installations that I do, right?
Yeah.
And it is just slightly different than the settings file. And if you so if you were to go into the settings file and edit those things, if you just put in the string password, what I've been told is that it will automatically rehash or re-encrypt that.
Yeah.
When you restart the service host manager. I'm still using Decision 6, so I still have an SHM, I guess. And so I guess I'm just wondering, is that behavior the same on the install file? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I have not installed from a file like that before, so I can't give a clear yes or no answer, but I imagine that if we are handling it that way with the settings XML file, that we would also handle it that way if we were installing from an XML file like that.
Yeah, that's what I would expect too. I'll give it a go. Yeah, just
Okay.
a curious question. Let's see what else. Let me pull up another couple of windows and see if I have any other questions here. Oh, so this probably is in a later version, but let's say that I wanted to, like, I wanted to create something that, like, I know you can create a REST API in Decisions that you can,
Yes.
can call like another API and get that response back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be set up and configured. Are there steps for and around that to where, like, instead of having to go through the UI, I can basically like create a flow to create that REST API call for me, as long as I know what to put where? Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're saying rather than coming into here and creating this REST service manually, you're wanting to automate that in some way.
Right. Yeah, basically.
Okay. That's very interesting. I've never tried that.
Yeah. See,
So
what
I
I
don't
think
know.
is that my version sucks, and add open API service reference is actually what would help me do that, right? Because
Mhm.
my understanding is I can basically import from, well, Swagger, or what they call Open API now, I guess, and it should like load up those definitions, right?
Let's see, namespace, client name, URL. Interesting. Yeah, I've not worked with this Open API service reference before. Let me see what the documentation says about it.
Yeah, I first noticed that in the version 7 documentation, and then like for this, yeah, this exact thing. I don't see this in the 8 documentation, and I definitely don't see it on 6, and I don't even see that option on my version of 6. So I think that was a 7 enhancement, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of the integrations that I've set up before were in 6, and it was always like the manual REST integration. So I'm honestly not familiar with this Open API integration here. Let's see, Open API format of Swagger is a description format for API integrations, API specification, YAML or JSON, and six API include available endpoints and operations. Did that integrate? Okay, it says it's provided by Swagger. So we need the namespace, which in this case is pet store. And we need the client name, which in this case is pet store client. And then there's the URL. So I'm not sure where you would get the namespace or client name.
I think
But
you
it
just
seems to
make
be
it up.
expecting you to host.
Right.
Oh, okay, that's a made up thing. That's not. Okay, I was thinking that was something actually tied to that JSON file.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I would think if you, as long as you have the URL, you're just asking for a like a name and a namespace, so that, like, you know how to name those data types when they get created in the decisions database, right?
Yeah, well, I actually should have a YAML file somewhere, but even that wants it to be hosted. So yeah, so we can try it with this one and see how this goes. Copy, integration, external API, URL, paste that in there, trim that off.
Sorry, I asked that question and I have to hop off in 5 minutes for another one.
Oh, dang. Okay. Pet store client generate. Yeah, I've never done this before, so this does seem very interesting to me. All right, cool. Gave us a pet store client folder. Gave us all these here. Open API data type, open API method info. Very cool. Let's see, where did it say? Well, drop down got in my way. All right, where did it say that we're gonna find these integrations, open API services? No. Why don't I have open API services? Integrations, open API services. That's weird.
Is that a module that you have to actually like physically install, or it didn't say that?
Yeah, it didn't say that anywhere here. All right, select the external service category on the left, open API. The integration is successful. A new folder with that will be there. Yep. Open folder and see all the data. Yep, saw that. Open a flow or select create flow. Integration category. Yeah, it didn't make that for me. That's weird. Unless it was still doing something in the background and I jumped the gun opening a flow like that. Maybe let me try and just make a whole new flow. Integration. Odd.
It's not in your REST services folder there, right? It said it was something.
Yeah, I can check REST services again, but I don't think I saw it there. Yeah, no, that's all my stuff that I've set up before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even think we can use that because we're on 6, so we'll
Yeah.
probably have to update to 7 or 8 to do that.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Sorry, no, there's a DTN for this issue already.
Oh, okay, cool. Good to know.
Yep, I'll share with you.
Thanks for looking at that for me. I gotta hop off.
All right. Have a nice day.
Y'all to you.
All right, and we've got the one attendee left, and we've got 2 minutes left until 12:30. So I think we can just go ahead and call it here. Thanks for stopping in and sticking around. Hope you enjoyed Lunch and Learn. And even though I wasn't able to solve too many problems, hope you were at least still able to come away with something like this open API integration. That's really cool. I'd not
Thank you,
used that
Noah.
before. Yep. All right, bye.